These documentaries changed my perception for good. Documentaries are boring. That's what most of us believe all the time. I was in that category too for a very, very, very long time. And the thing is, I got introduced to like one or two categories of documentaries that sort of completely blew my mind and changed my outlook on documentaries completely. I'm going to show you 6 of those documentaries which are not the popular ones that has had a high impact on my life, and I think that these are documentaries that you should be watching at least once because it will show you so many things that you may never have heard of or never known about. So let's get started. Let me just tell you this, that almost all documentaries are generally created with a lot of bias that the maker holds. There will be things that may not completely align with your own personal beliefs. So always take it with a pinch of salt. So the first one is Living the Change, Inspiring Stories for a Sustainable Future. So this was a 1.5 hour long documentary which was released in 2018 on YouTube. So it's completely free for everybody to watch. And this is based out of life of people in New Zealand. It shows us some of the lifestyles of people who are trying to live more responsibly and more sustainably in New Zealand. It's a very simple format showing us different lives and what they're doing to try and live sustainably, but it shows us a lot of new concepts that most of us may never have even heard of. So there's something called as time banks, local currencies, free repair shops and things which work really well in communities which we may not have even heard of before. And they talk to us about how we are completely interconnected with the wilderness and how we need to live with that and accept that to move forward in a more sustainable manner. So what I liked about this documentary was that it made me question my own beliefs, because being a vegan, I always thought that agriculture should not use animals in any manner. But they sort of made me question whether that's true, because they show how cattle may be necessary for a sustainable kind of agriculture. And that is something that I'm still doubtful about, that I'm still unsure about, but that still put a seed of question in my mind and something that I'm definitely very much interested in understanding more. This is what documentaries do. It gives you knowledge about things that you may not have been aware of before, and that's why I believe that all of you should definitely watch it. It's a must watch and it's a fun documentary too. So the next one is a very fascinating documentary called as How Conscious Can a Fish Be? So this is a 40-minute documentary which was released in 2021 by an independent filmmaker, and honestly it's a very, very, very fascinating one, because most of us don't even think about fishes at all. Like, we just think about fishes as food or pets that we keep in aquariums, right? And we've all heard of this common phrase, memory of a goldfish, which is usually used to address a absent-minded person, because we believe that goldfish only has attention span of 3 seconds or lesser. But this documentary sort of shatters that myth and sort of shows us how fishes are very much underrated in general. It talks about the likeness that they have to us humans, about their intelligence and even their way of being able to feel pain. And their final take is on why all of that actually matters. It's actually a very interesting video because it actually gives you solid facts and numbers which we never really think about so much. They go on to talk about the different types of fishing that is done and gives us some numbers that actually will make our eyes pop. And even though they give us all these numbers, they also make us think about the fishes outside of these statistics and about being an individual who cares about their own life. One part of this video sort of makes us really think a lot, because it shows us a zoomed in version of a fish which is trying to escape from its capture. It shows us how hard the fish tries to swim against the force. And that is almost the same as how we usually see cows trying to escape from their slaughter or hens trying to escape from being captured. This was the same way. But the thing is, we never think of fish. We never give any kind of thought to these fishes. We're even shown the comparison of, fish farms to the land animal farms to see how similar they actually are. A fish for us is just another, small being in the sea which just exists for us to eat. But this video, even if you are a fish eater or not, I definitely recommend that you watch it, because it makes you think a lot more about that product that comes on your plate. So definitely watch it, because it's definitely a favorite one. The next one is a documentary called as Dominion, which was released in 2018 on YouTube, and it's again completely free for all of us to watch. And this is probably one of the most powerful, uncompromising documentaries that I've ever seen. And if there's one documentary out of this list that I am telling you that you need to watch, it has to be this one. And this documentary is actually made through crowdfunding, meaning that there were people like you and me who paid for this documentary to be made. And this documentary talks about the animal agricultural industry in Australia. It is not very different in the other parts of the world either. It's almost the same in the US, in Europe, in UK, in India, in China. It's not very different at all. It can be really hard to watch because the videos are very brutal, and you might feel like closing your eyes at times because you cannot bear to watch the whole thing. And that is what makes it so powerful, because this is not a documentary that is scripted in any way. It is the documentary that shows us raw footages from hidden cameras which were not supposed to be seen by the public. These were videos that was behind the scenes of the animal agriculture industry, not something that the industry ever wanted us to see. And that is what makes this documentary so powerful. It shows us things that we did not want to see, the reality that we refused to see. And so that is the reality I really do want all of you to watch. And what I love about this documentary is that it's not just the cows or the hens or the buffaloes or the goats that we talk about. They talk about all the smaller species of animals that are also harmed for our clothing, our entertainment, and different aspects of this industry. It talks about rabbits, it talks about horses, camels, exotic animals, so many different species that we harm every day for our needs, our selfish needs. It gives you something that you never thought you would go through. It makes you question a lot of things. I'm no way thinking of, turning you vegan by any means, but it is definitely a strong video which makes you at least question about what you're paying and supporting. The next one is a documentary which was released in 2017, and this is called as River Blue. And this is a documentary which currently I saw through YouTube. If you search for River Blue, you will find this documentary in YouTube. It talks about water pollution and one of the biggest culprits of water pollution, which is the textile industry or the fashion industry. Most of us as consumers are entirely blind towards the manufacturing of our clothes that we wear on an everyday basis. We never think about the high cost of our low-cost clothing, which is also known as fast fashion. This documentary sort of takes us throughout the different regions of the world that has been impacted by this industry. That includes China, Bangladesh, our own India, and the kind of pollutant that has been polluting some of our most important rivers, including our Ganga and Yamuna. And it shows us the kind of toxicity levels that our rivers have become, and most of it leads to this textile industry. The first half an hour to 45 minutes of this video is kind of depressing because it shows us the reality of the life of people who are a part of this industry, the people who are the most affected ones in this industry. People who live near these rivers, people who are part of the manufacturing process, the kind of life that they go through, they show us all of that, which becomes really depressing, to be honest. And when we think about it, our t-shirts, which cost us anywhere from like 50 rupees to 5,000 rupees, we need to think, how can a t-shirt cost just 50 rupees? Who is actually paying the price for that t-shirt? Is it you? No. It's somebody else down in the chain. They are the ones who are suffering because you want something that is so cheap. The best thing is that they actually do show us about the new kind of alternatives to the problems that we see, whether be it leather industry, be it the jeans manufacturing, better ways of distressing and dyeing and bleaching of jeans, and the ways that you did not need to pollute our water or even use so much of water. You are somebody who has never thought about where your clothes come from. This is very important to watch because it shows you the impact that the industry has on our earth and how much it's actually affecting us. So the next one is one called as Story of Stuff. It's a 2009 documentary, and this is one which is ideally for beginners because it talks about what it says, the story of stuff. So this is a documentary that questions the linear economy, which is what most of our stuff has been produced in, meaning it has one straight line of life cycle, which is basically extraction, production, distribution, consumption and disposal. There is no going back. Basically, we extract and then we throw it away. That's the kind of lifestyle which most of us have been practicing for a long time. And this video sort of shows us how that actually came about. So it did not start in the last few decades. It has been around for a very long time before that. This video shows the details of each of the part of this linear system and why it is a problem. And it makes us understand better why a circular system is very important today. It's a good video to watch, especially if you are a beginner to sustainability and how to live a more eco-friendly life. So the next documentary is one which is in Netflix, and this one is called Kiss the Ground. So this was a documentary that I'd been meaning to watch for a long time but got to watching it quite late, but it's a very powerful one. So this documentary helps us understand the one thing that we take completely for granted, our soil, and how we need to use it to help our planet. But be aware that this documentary is primarily based out of the US and the agricultural system that is practiced there. From talking to people who know a little bit more about agriculture, I've realized that this may not be completely true for India or other parts of the world because that may not be the same system that we follow. But again, it's something that will give you a lot of knowledge about modern agriculture, the problems behind it, also give us some amazing solutions to those problems. And again, this video did question my thought as a vegan once again because it comes down to agriculture, and this is the second documentary that says the same thing about how animals may be needed for having a very fertile soil, and again is something that I need to explore a little bit more to come to my own conclusion. It shows us people who have showed the difference that having a sustainable agricultural system can make the difference economically and also for our soil. They talk about food waste and what can be done to it for our own benefit. Over the years, I have personally decided to invest and purchase organic products all the time, be it my grocery items, be it my vegetables or fruits, because I know how much of an impact the fertile soil has on our earth. And fertile soil gets damaged if we are putting more and more pesticides, herbicides and other chemical products into our soil, because it is taking away the micronutrients in that soil and leaving it as just dirt over time. This video sort of clarifies so many things I had doubts about. A lot of things that worked there can definitely work here too. If you are somebody who has Netflix, watch it. It's definitely a good one. So those were the 6 documentaries that I feel you should start with at least. Also let me know if there are other documentaries that you would like for me to watch and review. So I will see you again in the next video. So until then, bye bye.